Hi, this is Jacob from Kinnettic Kreations. We're here today with a brand new Kawasaki KRX-4. It's a pretty neat machine. We're doing some turn signals for it. So in your kit, you get the rear harness. This plugs into our module, plugs into the tail lights, left and right, plugs into the factory harness in the back. This one has a trailer plug on it, so if you tow with them, you can have trailer lights. And then we got a license plate connector for a lighted license plate bracket that we make. We also have, of course, our standard front harness. This is the same harness that works on all of our units. That's not a secret photo. Plugs into our module. Then you got two left lights, two right lights. They're labeled, and we have the horn. They come with the horn. And then you have options for controls. You have this lever. This snaps right to the column using the factory bolts. And then you got left, right, horn on the end. Hazard, and that plugs into the module. Here's the module. It's a little circuit board in there that we solder all these pigtails to and mold. It plugs into your lever. Dash indicators, if you have any. This machine does not have them. The front harness and the rear harness. Or you can go with toggle switches. You got horn, turn signal left and right. These arrows light up and then flash. And we got hazard, lights up red. And it also plugs into our front harness, our rear harness, and if equipped, dash indicators. And then we have our options for front lights. So this machine's neat. These little hockey stick shaped running lights, we can flash them on this. We've tried them on Polaris's before, but the Polaris, when you turn on the headlights, it automatically turns on the running light and you can't override it. So that defeats the purpose. So we got these little adapters so that we can control the hockey stick, or you can go with our large round amber. It's 1.25 inches. It's got 6 LEDs in it. It's super bright. Uses a 3/4 inch mounting hole with a grommet. Put it down here, something like that. You can go with our smaller lights. These are 3/4 inch. They got 3 LEDs in each. So you can do 2 up front. We have a splitter, so one plug on the harness goes to 2 lights. Or you can do 3 in the front. Some people like 3 in a row. Then you also have our smoke lens. It's got 6 LEDs in it, and it's smoked, and it mounts with some screws. This you only need a 5/8 hole to fit the connector through, and you stick the gasket on the back and screw it on. Comes with screws, with an extra one in case you drop one. And we always recommend doing the side markers. You got light up front, but you want it to be seen from the side, so you can either do one of our big rounds, one of our small rounds, or one of our smoke lights. So let's get going on the install of this. So we're going to start at the left tail light. In your machine, this will already be plugged in. You're going to unwrap the harness. You'll have this one labeled stock connector, and this one labeled left tail light. So what you do is you'll unplug this, and you'll plug our harness in the tail light, and then we'll also plug our harness into the stock connector. And this should lay up here, and we will zip tie that into place. Now this harness, the rest of it follows this factory one down along the back. Nice thing is I put it in a spot where you can actually get your arm in there from below. So let's put this in here. Same thing, you'll unplug the factory one and plug ours in. Next, you won't really be able to see it. Up behind here, the factory harness runs left and right, and our harness is right against it, so we'll put a couple zip ties up there. Here we have our license plate connector. This can plug into our license plate bracket. I'll go snag one of those. So here's our license plate bracket. Powder coated aluminum. It's a 1/10 of an inch thick. A nice bright light on it, and it comes with a set of screws and spacers. So if you want, you'll be able to put a license plate bracket here, down below the level of this, get your spacers, and sink the screws, and you drill a little hole for the connector and plug into here. we're not doing that on this machine today. So, all the zip tying. And like I said before, here's a trailer harness. So if you want to tow a trailer, we do have options for doing trailer work. Pretty good. Tuck that in there. And we'll tuck up here so it's available but not hanging down. Alright, now that we got the rear harness installed in the back part, we still have to run this all the way up front. So what we always do is we follow the factory harness. Follow this, and follow it here. Goes behind the shock, comes down here behind this ground plate, and then goes in to the back of the cab. So this is behind the seats. So our next step will be routing it through the vehicle. Sometimes we go skid plates depending on everything comes out, but this looks like the center console comes out pretty easily. There's a lot of the quick rivets and Phillips screws. And then the seat comes off. Free zip ties for me. Woohoo. I'm not going to take this floor pan off, but hopefully if I pop this center console out, I can fish the harness wherever it comes through behind here over. And I'm guessing there's a big old massive harness running up front, so we're going to work on getting center consoles out. And you could conceivably just as easily run it underneath. I don't know where it'll come up front. We want it to end up in the dash, so I'm going to follow the factory harness, but on several machines, especially if they run the harness below, we will take the skid plate off and run the harness along that. Or if it's like some of the fancy Polaris, the Expedition, the Ranger 1500 is way easier to get out from underneath because their center consoles do not come out nicely. And the Pro FX. For some reason, the Pro FX, it's like they put the center consoles in first, then they put the floor, and then they put the cage on it or something. So this one looks easy enough to pop the center console out from. So it looks like I don't think they overlap. Sometimes you got to start the front, go rear. Other times you start the rear, go front. This one may not matter. I guess we'll find out soon. The seat backs come out. There's a little finger lever on the front, and they slide forward. So I got all the rivets out of the back one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then in this middle piece, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Looks like I missed these two. And there are 2 more up front. Success. Alright, so you do need to start with the middle piece first. Up in front of the e-brake, there's 2 quick rivets. Then down on the floor, there's 1, 2 on each side. Then on the sides, there's 2. And then in the middle, there's a big Phillips screw that do not want to come out by hand. On your back one, you have on each side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5 on that side. You'll also want to pop out the seat cushions from the back, seat cushions from the front, slide the seats all the way forward, and then you can get it over the e-brake. So, now if you're looking, Here's that fat harness we were following. It's actually easy to get to. So, does this pop off? I hope so. Yes. Okay, seat back popped off. Probably pop these off beforehand, and you want to mess with the seat belts and stuff. Like that. Little clip. That's how it goes. Little clip forward, seat belt. So now here's our grommet. Once you get these center console, it's actually really easy. So we'll put our harness in here. So I get this harness. We'll follow this big one. We'll just zip tie it along the way. All right, so up under here again. We had the harness zip tied here before, so we'll zip tie it over here. Damn it, fuck you. Got that up there. Officially done with the rear end of the vehicle. Now we'll go into here. All right, next we got to get up in here. It looks like the sides come off. So when the sides come off, I always take off the passenger side because they're not a gas pedal that has a clip behind it. So we'll pop off the side piece. It does go under here for a second. But otherwise, it's on top of stuff. Maybe behind here. Oh, there's two switch knockouts there. So we'll start taking pop rivets out. These are a million times easier if you got this thing. Amazon has kits that have a couple sizes of these, some plastic pry bars, which come in handy when you're taking dashes apart. Unless they do that crap. Alright, everything was going smoothly, but now these two are recessed in a hole. So those are the work of the devil there. I'll have to get something, angled pick or something, try to pop them out. Whoever designed that, you got a special place for you. So we have an array of bent picks. Try to get these out. There's the ticket hook. There's enough room to get it underneath. And as you roll it up, it slides out. Not too bad, but wholly unnecessary. It appears that this is a bad plan. So, I got all these on. Obviously, I still have a screw there. But this whole piece Goes up to here. This one's decorative, it doesn't hold nothing on. But it goes up and above, which is fine, except for this hose goes through it. Now I could probably take this cover off. I guess what's 4 more of these? Okay, maybe this will help. There's a lot of crap down here I'm not taking apart. Looks like heater stuff. But it looks like this harness comes up here behind the dash. So we're gonna abandon taking this out. We might probably take this out. This looks like it's just gonna. All right, so switching gears, we're gonna try to get this piece out. There's 2 more quick rivets way down in the cup holder. I don't normally mind these pop rivets, but when you stick them down in holes like these in here, I don't really like them. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4 on each side, plus those 2 and these 2 screws. You can see it's loose, but behind this will help us get in the dash. There's 2 more of our buddies in there. And this plastic piece is here. So we're gonna pop them off. And then there's 2 in here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus those screws. And I'm fairly positive that'll take that out. Look at that, that fucker came right out. Holy shit balls. So, that comes out easy. Not too bad, about cleaner installs I've seen. At least it's all jacketed. There's a fuse hiding in here, so I hope that thing never blows. I'll let the number one. I wouldn't put them in a dash, but it's not my install, so. This middle piece didn't come out yet, but there's enough room. Ooh, nice catch. So yeah, this middle piece I want out goes behind here because it actually has the nuts in it for those screws. Looks like here's some more parts then to split the side off, so we're not touching that. But there should be enough room in here. If I put it high, fucking brakes on, where I can finagle the harness up in there and hopefully feed it through to get it here. So if I can get it in there and up, should be able to get it. You can see the floor down there. So if you can see my hand, we're good to go. Route it all forward, and we'll get the rear harness done. And on all of our kits, and any kit that you install, the rear running stuff to the taillights, whether you're adding LEDs to the back or you're plugging into the rear end, is the most time-consuming, frustrating part of any install. So we've got a harness fed up to right here. Luckily, so far, able to shove it forward without any problems. Success. So what I ended up doing, definitely need to pop this open to be able to get down there. See, you can see we got our harness over there, so we ran it around the shifter cable and down. Now what I did is I kept feeding harness through until I stick my arm up here, grab it and pull it up. Now the biggest thing we gotta do is make sure it doesn't get messed up with the drive shaft. That's bad news. So see it down there, so we'll make sure that we get in here one way or another and route it safely away from that. It's really only in this area. I wish we could take some more of this stuff out. If we could have gotten this piece out, it would have been fantastic. But we couldn't, so let me fish this up here. Actually, first. You're up. You're in the dash. Put a zip tie here to the harness, pulling it tight, help pull it away from the drive shaft. We'll zip tie it a couple spots down here. So that part's done. Zip tie right there. And you can see most far as I can. Stays up away from that drive shaft, so I'll go in here. Here's when I was building this one. Forgot the lock. That's how prototypes go. Okay. So like the super hard part's done. We have a rear harness and a dash. Next we'll mount the lever. And we'll get the module put in here somewhere. We can mount it back there. Then we just gotta find a spot to fish the front harness out the front. We'll tuck that back in there for now. Throw a seat cushion in because I'm going to put this lever on. So here's our lever. This bracket is specific to Kawasaki column. We always make a new bracket when we get a new machine so that it fits that column. We don't have the universal setup, so this one's actually off the Pro FX and it happens to fit, so lucky us. We're taking these two nuts off. Yeah, this neat little jam nut system. Then they have another nut inside there. Looks like a 12 mil. Get it in there. Kawasaki uses a different way to do these. They got a bolt, it's threaded, there's no shoulder on it. You got a spacer, you got your bracket of course. So the bolt, bracket, spacer, strut. There's a little nut here, bracket, and then this double stack nut. So you'll want to pull these two off. And then you pull your bolt out while holding the nut still. It's a 12, but as long as you get something that holds it from spinning, you're good because it's not tight. You can see that spinning on me. It's still coming out. So we'll get that out. We'll put our bracket on. I like to put it down towards the end, so I have wiggle room when I'm putting my stuff together. Get nuts off. And we got that spacer. So our bracket just goes over the column. Then you put the same bolt back in. They actually made theirs long enough. Puller goes a little tight on this one. Put it through our bracket and the Cowie bracket. Spacer. What we do is you flip over the gas strut so the handle's on the right. Now you put this nut back up in here. Sometimes if you have a pick or a screwdriver, you can put it through the holes to hold it in place so you don't drop it. So that nut's on. I'll put this nut in. And this nut goes flat against the column bracket, and this hole actually goes in our bracket. So as you can see, most of the way down we got bolt, our bracket, their bracket, spacer, strut. We flip the lever around. We put this nut in there, their bracket, their nut, our bracket, and that shoulder goes on there. And we'll tighten all that down, and then we'll put the last nut on. Bolt in all the way. We'll tighten this nut down. Need a skinny wrench for that one. Tighten this one down. And we'll tighten this one. Alright. So there we have it. We have bolt, our bracket, their bracket, spacer, strut with this flipped, their little nut, their bracket, their nut with the shoulder, snaps on ours, and then their nut. So when you are done, it should look like that. Now you want to make sure when you're putting this on that you pull this forward as you're going, and then it sits on there nice and tight. And if you want to switch the angle a little bit, like this one could pop up, tweak this a little bit. Otherwise, you're driving, beep beep, and then hazards will be pulling out. Then we'll throw this cable away from any spinny parts of the steering wheel. Looks like there's a spot right here. All right, now that we have our lever mounted, it's time to run our front harness. Spend some time digging. Right behind the reservoir, there's this little gap. You can see down there, it's shining a light. There is one hole in the firewall to pass a harness through, so that's what we're going to use. Put this in there, I think. And we have it. It was actually easier than I thought it would be. So you can see where it goes through. So now we passed the cable for the lever down here. There's some room in there. So now we actually have all the 3 cables we need right here to plug in our module. So, module, it's 4 connectors. We won't use the dash indicators because this machine is not equipped with them. Normally we'd have a little harness that runs to whatever dash we have. So plug in the lever, plug in the front, and plug in our rear. So now what we have left for our kit is to mount the front lights. I'll show you our adapter to have the DRLs flash. Then we're going to put one of our big round ambers right here, so you can see from the side. It'll look pretty neat. So that's what we got left to do. And mount the horn, of course. We got to find a spot under the hood that we can mount the horn, usually to an existing one. This looks like it's going to be too big for... So we got this front harness in there. It's labeled front left, front right. That goes with how you sit in the machine. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow this frame rail, or tube, or whatever you want to call it, up underneath on both sides. And now we'll mount our lights. We're going to put these on the sides, one on each side. They take a 3/4 inch hole. So what we do is we use a step drill. It lets you drill incrementally through the plastic, and then as soon as you shoot it all the way through, it's the right size. So we're going to put it where it's right about here, so you'll be able to see it from the side. It'll kind of glow on the tire a little bit, look pretty cool. So we're going to go straight below the screw and in the middle of the plastic. Always make sure behind where you're drilling, you're not going to hit anything. Sometimes you think it's a perfect spot to put something, but like you want to put it here, there's a whole bunch of plastic crap in the way, so we'll stick this here. Now we can plug one of our connectors into it. It's nice because there's a bar coming across here, so we can zip tie to that and keep it up out of the way. Actually, we'll run this above this other harness back here. The harness going to the right headlight. I'll hold this up. And we'll go shoot one through the other side. Same thing here. Run it over the headlight harness and plug it in. And for the front light, show you guys how we're going to flash these. So there's a connector in the back of the headlight. Let's unplug it. It's this connector. You'll find this clip and you'll pull up and unplug it. And we just plug this into there. Plug in the headlight itself and then headlight plug. And our other harness connector goes to that. We'll worry about zip tying it up later. Same thing over here. Plug it in the harness. Our harness into the headlight. And this plugs into this. Now, still have the horn left. Probably hear the horn outside on my kid's power wheel. They're driving around. So we got it all plugged in. Turn the key on. You can see we got our little hockey sticks as running lights. And our ambers on as a running light on both sides. So we'll go left. You can see that one. Now the point of having a side marker there is no matter where you're standing, you can see this vehicle wants to turn. So you don't want to have someone coming up and not knowing that you're trying to turn. And of course we have a little hockey stick flashing. These do have a self-timing feature. After 45 seconds, it pretends you're back at off. So that way, if you forget to turn off your turn signals, after 45 seconds, your front running lights come back on, and your tail lights just go back to tail lights. Your brakes aren't on, obviously. There we go. And reset that, you just put it in neutral, and it starts a clock over. Of course, we got the right side. And you can see the taillight flashing against our garage door, so check our brake lights. Be able to see them on the door. So we got the right blinker on, still flashes, blinkers off, brakes on, left. So they do override the brake lights. Hazards. And the hazards, of course, don't time out. So if you got your hazards on, it's for a reason. So you want them always flashing. The timer only starts when you're only left or right. And of course we got the horn, but we haven't hooked that up yet. So key back off. We got horn. Zip tie all this crap on. Put 312 quick rivets and a couple Phillips screws in, and this thing's ready to go back to the customer. So let's go find a spot to put this horn. So our horn, made by Wolo. Actually surprisingly durable horns, because our kid's Barbie Jeep has one in it with a Milwaukee 18-volt battery, and they do not use that horn intermittently. They like to drive around the building and the parade and whatever, holding it down. So we've had them overheat, shut off, and then 5 minutes later it kicks back on. And we did replace it once because they managed to finally burn it out, but I gotta give them credit, they're tough little horns. All right, so I like to find a bolt that exists. This bolt right here will work. Perfect. So we'll do. So we'll shoot our horn harness down here. Follow the headlight harness. Plug in the back of the horn. Plug this in. It's just 2 spades and 2 tabs. Polarity does not matter on these horns. So purple and black can go anywhere. As long as you get it on the metal tab. If you get on either side of it, you won't have a horn and you'll be probably calling me. The horn's good. We will attach this to this and we'll start zip tying all this stuff away. Helps if you put the zip ties on the right way. Generally, if you follow the factory harnesses, they're in a safe spot. Alright, so this side's all done. I guess you guys can see that, but when my harness was hanging down, we zip tied this all up here. Zip tie this to the back side of this pole. And do the same thing up here. Great. All zip tied up now. The hood back on. For some reason, this hood just kicks my butt every time. There's 2 slots on here. There we go. Gotta get this slot and these 2 simultaneously. And the ones down here, you can easily miss and get underneath. So the outside's done. All we have left is this disaster. First, I'm gonna clean up the module, some zip ties. sure knock any switches loose, or you'll be wondering later on why crap quit working. That worked before you started. Start putting pop rivets back in. Some of these are inevitably mangled from being recessed and having to use a pick, so when I'm putting this stuff back together, I like to pick the most aesthetically pleasing ones to put back where you see them. Not sure. These Phillips screws here have a little shoulder or sleeve or whatever you want to call them on them. Going together pretty well. Alright, we got that all in. That went pretty well. Next we got these pieces. The back we'll put in first because it came out last. Screw here has another shoulder on it. They seem to like their shoulders on this machine. Last but not least, the cushions. Alright, that does it for our KRX blinker kit. Back, gravy, going up the middle. That was stupid easy. Getting up there sucked. But hey, you always run into some trouble spots in some of these machines, so getting in here was the worst. Under the hood, that was easy. Column mount was easy. So the only problem with this one was that center console as we brought our harness up to the front. But not too bad. So I got 2, maybe 3 hours in it. So I'm sure beats wiring it yourself and having a cut and splice. As you can see, we didn't use a single pair of wire cutters or crimps or solder or the T-taps or whatever comes in those other quote-unquote plug-and-play kits. Ours obviously is actually truly plug-and-play, because just plugged it all in. Hardest parts are out in it. So if you need a KRX kit, we're going to have them up on our website soon. I'll put a link in the description.